what should we expect at any given point in time, anywhere in the marketplace? You just have to expect it. It's not really like it's going to happen, but because we're cheap asses and because we're skeptics and because we always know that the capitalists are out to us. Where is that right now on the QQQs? Is this market slightly risky? So if you wanted to join the pump, where are you likely to do that, right? We always should expect 38.2s. And I would even throw the 50% level. So where is Collins pump chaser? There it is, pump chaser. Oh, and what a surprise. Do you see how we have a key low to work against? And that is that October low, where the market just pivoted and went straight up. V bottoms and V tops should be tested, right? You can see markets, they top, they look like M's. Markets, when they bottom in earnest, they really look like W's. Down, up, down, breakout. Look at this W. That's a bottom. I think Mr. Cotter was the one who said, is this a Joby gap? It could be. I would say, and the worst part about this is what's scary about this. And of course, nobody on the public is seeing this. You can see they're filling in this gap as we speak right now. But look at this. And look at this. What the hell? What scares me is that this is what the price chart for 2019 looks like. There are still these price gaps down in the 2019 lows and 2020 lows. So, God, this is insanely risky. And what kind of chart pattern does this look like? Let's see if any of you can read my mind here. I'll go like this and then like this. What do you think I'm thinking right now? And I'll go like this. That means what we should expect is maybe something like this, and maybe something like this, and then and I actually could see that they do all of this through this election year. I mean, you all see what that January barometer shit looks like, eh? I guess looking at this kind of image, notice this is February, March. I could very easily see them deep pullback, and then there'll be some sort of counter trend rally. I don't know whether this happens into the spring. Like maybe this dump into February, March is really bad. I don't know. And this might even take quite a while to actually top out, because you can kind of measure the time, right? We could go, if this is symmetrical, remember, the universe is a fractal. If that is the top, then we don't actually really start breaking down in earnest until there, right? So how long is that? That's 148 bars. So if we clone that, then that means, and keep in mind, this is not a guarantee that we break down. You might actually find that this goes like this and then like this. And we're all like, okay, what's this going to do? And people are going to be like, oh, that's a head and shoulders. And then the goddamn thing actually turns back up and it starts taking off to the upside. And this W here is a new buy signal. You never know. So, like I said, it's not in your best interest to predict the future. We're just going to roll with the punches and take the setups as they come. What I would say now is that Mr. Carter's comment that this is looking awfully dangerous up top here, I would wholeheartedly agree. Guess the question I would have is, number one, is this a half decent trade location? It's interesting how they took the market to new highs there and then rolled it over. It's also interesting too. Notice how they left a gap right at that old high, right? So if I go like there, let's go there, and notice that gap. So was this nothing more than, and then we went after the stops? Look how any kind of counter trend rally is going to be right into that gap. So you could say like horizontal support and resistance, that old high, this price gap, this is where I think it's Nick. Could this potentially be one of those fair value gaps? Maybe we look at like a 4-hour chart and there's your back and forth. They've clearly broken the previous bullish structure. So does this now become that fair value gap where you say this is the bottom and this, and I don't know where you measure this. Maybe you have to measure it all the way down here. My hunch is that the market probably plays around down here and then we come back up. And I think that this is that fair value gap concept. And ironically enough, this is the definition of gap, right? It's funny how he calls it a fair value gap, right? Well, I mean, gaps are gaps are gaps, right? And we all know gaps like to be filled in, but a counter trend rally into that, and you could also say on the lower time frame, right? That is clearly a horizontal support and resistance level right in there, that high there and that high there. So would it not make sense that maybe we get a nice little counter trend rally and then a nice M, and that sets up just an absolutely beautiful short right up there? And maybe what we do is we draw things like reload zones up top, and you see, oh, gee whiz, what a coincidence. All of that lines up. Now, do you see how we're already identifying trade location? We don't even have any price structure yet to even think about. We are right now basically identifying where would be a really good trade location. How many reasons should you have to justify taking a trade? 3. So you can kind of see the process of identifying trade locations, step number 1, and then maybe we get a nice counter trend rally up in here. Maybe what ends up happening is this top actually looks something like high, then a higher high, but you look down at your indicators and you notice that the indicators are making lower highs, and oh, hello, that's a divergence, reason number 2. Then you find an M price structure. And Mr. Lamarcus, right? This is right down your alley. Maybe you have, let's do a little steeper. We'll go like that. Trend line break. Show me an M on the other side of the trend line. Away you go. I don't know, something like that. All right, maybe something like that. I don't know. So hopefully you can see how the whole trade process is sort of setting itself up. Now, are we at the point where we actually have a trade setup? No, we're not even close. We've got the initial break that's broken the back of the bull, and that makes sense. Perfectly logical. And now we have to wait for the whole setup to set up.